Hello everyone. So this is a study guide for ISC square CC and CCSP topics. So here we are going to see access security, access control. So here what is access control? So access control is a mechanism to safeguard countermeasure designed to preserve confidentiality, integrity and availability of data. So this is part of the CAA triad. So confidentiality is means so the only the authorized person can able to access or view the data, and integrity is the data can't be tampered or altered in the transmit. So only the source can able to do changes. And availability means that data should be accessible for the subject at any time. That subject can be able to access the data. So access is based on three elements. So subject, object, and role. Subject is who is going to access, like a user or the machine, and object is what the subject is going to access, like file or object or storage or any services. All comes under the objects. So rules is how and when the subject is going to access, in the sense whether we want to set any control measures there. So only this subject can able to access the objects. Those kind of rule settings we can do in the rules. So access control is simply, in simple terms, access control involves limiting what object can be available to what subject according to what rules. This is a simple term. And access control is broadly classified into three types: the physical control, technical or logical control, and administrative control. The physical control is a mechanism deployed to prevent, monitor, detect, and contact with the systems or the area within the facility. So example like physical access control is security guard, fence, motion detection, or locked doors and sealed windows, and cables and laptop locks, badges, swiping cards. These are the example of physical control. Technical and logical control limits the connection to the computers, network systems, and the data. So that's a kind of what are the technical aspects we are going to do in that to restrict the data access. In the administrative control is a set of security rules, policies, procedures, or guidelines specified by the management to control access and usage of confidential information. Here we'll see the details of the control types. So first we'll see the administrative control. So administrative control is a set of security rules, policies, procedures, guidelines specified by the management to control access. So here the example is user management, privilege management, employee security, clearance, and evaluation and employee training. So here the administrative control will is the nature of doing the administrative effort that management decides. So what are the policies, what are the procedures, and what are the users acceptance policy we need to follow. So all those things comes in the administrative control. The physical control is a set of security controls implemented physically to prevent unauthorized access to data and security risk. So here it comes a security guard, fence, motion detection, locked doors, sealed windows, lights, cables, protection, laptop, badge. So all these are physical controls that it secures the physical aspects of that information system as well as the office spaces. And technical control is a control access confidential information over the network using technologies. So here we see the access control, firewall, network authentication, and encryption. These are all the technical aspects of technical control. So here we'll see the security control based on functionality. The first one is directory control. Directory control is monitors the regulation and policies like user acceptance policy. And deterrent control is intended to warn an attacker that should not attack. It's used to discourage the attacker to violate the security function. So like placing the warning sign. And the preventive control is designed to be implemented prior to the threat event and reduce or avoid the likelihood and potential impact of the successful threat event. It's used to prevent the security event from occurring. And compensation control or an alternate method that supports the requirement of the actual security control. So this is to have alternate security control in place to have the fallback mechanism to the existing security control. And detective controls are used to detect and alert the unauthorized or unwanted activities. This is to detect. So if any unwanted operation is happening, so it will monitor and detect and alert. And corrective controls are used to remediate or mitigate the action affected of the security events. So if any security event happen, it affected the system, it should corrective control should correct the system, and it should make the system working properly. And recovery controls are deployed to recover the and restore the operating system to normal condition after the security incidents. So here the recovery control is after the effect. So after the effect, we need to have the control that should remediate, and it should restore the system to work into the normal operation. A corrective control is happen at the time of a security event happening. It should have a corrective mechanism to make the system to work properly or up to the mark. So here we'll see the type of access control and activity when the controls are in effect, like directive, deterrent, and preventive will happen before that security incidents, and during the security incidents we'll have a detective, corrective, and compensation. So recovery control is post incidents we'll be doing to recover the system to the normal working condition. So here we'll see the example of cross-functional control classification. So here we'll have a table. We can see so which of that physical, technical, and logical control with respect to the functionalities, functional classification. So make note of this. So it will be much helpful for your exam questions. So here I can cover that intrusion detection. We all know honeypot. So honeypot is a system which we'll put in the DMZ zone for it contains it just act as a vulnerable system, so that the attacker can try to attack the system, and but the security personnel will have full control on to this honeypot system, so they can get the logs of that attack. What are the types of attack comes for this system for in the honeypot, so that they can have the precautionary mechanism. Since the honeypot is it is in a productive environment, it can't able to that access violation can't able to cross this cross the limit. So through these they can able to get that attack vectors, and they can have the preventive mechanism. So that's the purpose of a honeypot in technical control. And all other things you can just you can have a look. So it will be much helpful for your exam preparation. So here we'll see the access control model. So first one is a DAC. DAC is a discretionary access control. This is a decentralized way of setting the access control. So here the owner will have the full control. So he can able to delegate that object permission to any other users. So administrator will have the low overhead, and the main advantage is lower administrative cost, flexible, and reduced cost. And MAC is a mandatory access control. It's a centralized way of managing the access control. It is used and the administrators have the full control over the rule setting, and the users don't have any rights to change or alter the rules. And this is mainly used in high secured environment, and mostly it is used in military and government secured environment. And RBAC is a role-based access control. So this is used. This uses a user role to decide the access permission, and this is mostly used to implement least privileges. And the advantage of this was assessing and managing permissions and roles are easier, and it's used to achieve the principle of least privileges. And ABAC is attribute based access control. Here it uses user attributes such as username, role, and security clearance to decide that access permission. And it is used in the it is mainly used in the large business with a complex hierarchy structure, so that the business they can use any number of user attribute to decide that user permission. RuBac is a rule based access control. Here it uses a manage access to resource or data such as files, devices, or even database. It is based on predefined set of rules and access permission. It is mostly used in flexible. It is used to make flexible in making changes across the entire business. So if you want to do any compliance on any requirement change, we don't want to change in multiple places. In the single place, the single rules, if we change alters, the entire organization will have that access control permission. So PAM is a privilege access control privilege access management, which gives the administrator limited and empirical access privilege on a need basis. Like if you want to give a user some limited from elevator permission for a certain period of time, So like if you want to give one day only that the user can get the elevated permission to do the certain operation. In that case, we can use PAM. The PAM mostly used in change management process. Like if you want to do a change in the next week, so that the administrator can set the time limit. He can do the administrator gives that elevated permission to that user for a certain frame window, like 1 hour or 2 hour, so that he can able to RDP to the machine, and then he can do the change on the change window. So after that time, that the user don't have access to that system. So that's why this PAM prevents that. PAM prevents the permission creeps issues in the organization, and the internal insider threads it prevents. So Microsoft uses this PAM by default in their in the Azure cloud services. And another exam tip I can give here is the Mac. So how to remember the Mac and how what the usage of Mac. So based on this one, the Mac is you can if you see the Mac, and it's used in a high secure environment, and a high secure environment means it's a military. We can consider the military as high secure environment. So military and Mac both are start with M. So we can remember for remembrance, we can use that M as a key to remember the Mac to associate with the military. So that's an exam tip. Thanks for watching my video. Please provide your valuable feedback for my improvements.